All right, let's get this session fired up. Coming to you a little bit late this evening, and I hope you guys had a great Monday. It's 8 p.m. here on the West Coast, September 12th, 2022. We're talking current events, economic data. Trump in D.C. Don't know what he was doing. He says he was playing golf, but I'm sure that he had some other business to conduct as well. We're going to talk about it all tonight before we get into our crypto news. So to start this session off, let's get right into it. We are looking at the overall cryptocurrency space here, sitting at a market cap of $1 trillion. Now, I'm going to start including that as well because it's important to watch this total crypto market cap. And it is incredible to see it back below $1 trillion after we were one time trading above $3 trillion for the overall cryptocurrency market cap. But at the time of this recording, 8 p.m. West Coast, September 12th, we are at the $22,200 for your Bitcoin. 1706 for your Ethereum, and your XRP is going to be at 35 cents. Now, let's take a look here. I have to keep on talking about Charles and the throne and the monarchy and this situation because it's so relevant. And we're continuing to watch this situation unfold. We look back into history, and what do we see? King Charles I of England was, okay, first off, not wishing violence upon anyone, especially a royal member like Charles. But no, we pray for peace, and we're not calling for anything of this sort. Just so we're clear, everyone watching this channel, just want to be clear, we're praying for peace. King Charles I of England was beheaded by his own people. This is just history. King Charles II ruled during a plague. Now the world awaits the reign of King Charles III. Interesting how that works, isn't it? Interesting timing, this whole situation. Now, check it out. Speaking of the King of America, I'm just kidding. There is no King of America. That was a joke. But we're talking about Donald Trump. The Justice Department has subpoenaed more than 30 people in Trump's orbit in January 6 probe. Okay, so they are going to be going after more than 30 members. They're looking at his election campaign, folks, and the people that were helping him run his campaign and do some other work. But we broke this news, what was this, like 2 live streams ago, like 2 days ago. We already broke this story, and it was kind of unconfirmed at the time, but now we have CNN and the mainstream confirming for us that, yes, Trump's team has been subpoenaed, more than 30 people, all related to his election and all that. And last night we covered how the Virginia election official just got charged with 3 felonies for basically election tampering and illegal activities in regards to the 2020 election. So we're just going to continue to watch this political theater unfold, right? Nothing here that's going to get us overly excited. We're not emotionally invested in this story. I would be lying if I said that I didn't care about this country and us being able to fix the unbelievable series of events that are about to unfold. Although we see it's been bad, we've gotten to a point that many of us thought we'd never get to. I'm about to go through the economic data. It's going to get worse, and I'm just going to get that out front, right? Although I'm super bullish on the future of humanity after these events, it gets worse before it gets better. Now, in regards to this situation, Trump, is he going to be indicted? Is he going to be arrested? We've been speculating on this over the past month. I still got TikTok triggered. They're still stitching me a month later. And there's just a serious portion of the population, some for him, some against him, that I think are getting too emotionally caught up in other people's stories, whether it's Trump, whether it's your football team, without getting your act together, without getting your business and household together. And I'm all for it, guys. If your pastime is watching football, I love that. Whatever your gig is, I'm not for judging anybody. But the point of the matter is that we're going to get this situation, it's going to get worse recession-wise. The economic data tells us that. And then when we line up the world stage events that we've been talking about for years, as far as Trump, how he's going to be returning back to power, but it's going to be just complete chaos in the middle of him coming back in and becoming president once again. The political theater that's unfolding, we're about to see Gary Gensler go in front of Congress on September 15th, right? This is the whole thing that we've been talking about for a very long time. To see the Queen pass is just one confirmation of how far along we are in the timeline, and that's why this is so important. Okay, and why we talk about the political actors in the theater and Trump and the Queen. Charles, we're not going to refer to him as King Charles on this channel. He's just Charles to us. We'll see what happens. Jim Cramer thinks the mid-June market bottom will hold. CNBC is reporting, and FX Hedge is saying sell everything. And yeah, I'm right there with him. I'm right there with them as far as Jim Cramer being wrong about the June lows, as well as Daniela DiMartino Booth. She says, novel film critics T1 Alpha notes that Jurassic Park went from a blockbuster to a series of sequels declining quality, perhaps only matched by declining trend of the S&P 500 earnings yield over the past 40 years. If June 16th was the low trough, it will be the first bear market to bottom with P/E above greater than 18 times. The profit and earning ratio. Profit and earnings above 18 times. It would be the first time ever that we've done this. Now, we are in new territories, but I've been making the case here. Others are making the case much smarter than me. That the data, the story, what's about to unfold tells us it gets worse. That the June lows were not the lows. Now, are we panicking at all? No. No, thank you, God, for this opportunity to keep on acquiring these assets on the low. I never thought my XRP bags would get to this point. I never thought my business would be having this much success going through the recession. I never thought that I would have this much opportunity before me. And now riding out this economic hurricane, this storm, the chaos, the recession, the reset, call it what you want. How's your program working out? How much money do you got coming in? What have you done for prepping in essentials is what we're talking about right here on this show. And we are prepared for either way. Like I said, if the June lows were it, the bear market's about to wrap up and we're going to pump, okay, bags are packed, send it. We'll do fine. We'll do fantastic. Don't care if my Bitcoin short gets me wrecked. I will laugh, because I'll be making it back in XRP and other cryptocurrencies by multitudes of a return. Doesn't matter. But for us, hey, we've set our chips on the table, and then we're also doubling down on the Bitcoin short. I told you guys about that. Double down on the Bitcoin short, still holding it, down 50%, absolutely wrecked, but still in it because I'm stubborn and because it's a conviction play. Bitcoin's a piece of shit network, doesn't get anything done for humanity, so that's why I'm shorting it. It's a stupid thing. Not financial advice. Zero Hedge. We estimate the next blackout window will begin at the end of this week, 9/16, when 50% of the S&P 500 are in their closed window. As a reminder, we typically expect flows to decrease by 30 to 35% during the blackout. This is being reported by Goldman Sachs, I believe. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that we just shared how abysmal the earnings are on the S&P 500. But what we're talking about here is a blackout period that occurs for many companies, and it's all based off of their fiscal year ending at the end of Q3, at the end of September. This is a period, a blackout window is a period, not when the lights go out, even though we could be seeing that. We actually already are seeing that, right? The grids are all on the brink of failing, right? And then we did see the most recent deal yesterday in the Ukraine-Russia situation was that largest power grid in Kharkiv was bombed. So we are seeing blackouts. But in regards to this blackout window, we're talking about companies cannot do any buying or selling of positions going into the end of the fiscal year, going into earnings. There's a blackout window that's going to be occurring. Now, the next blackout window will begin at the end of this week, 9/16. Well, we also know that we're going into where the Queen, her funeral is set for the 19th. The banks in England will be shut down, and it's expected they could be shut down even a couple days after. We'll see how that unfolds, okay? So we know here that we have this taking place with the S&P 500 blackout. Basically, they're going to be on the sidelines there for a little bit. But then we're going into the end of this Shemitah cycle, okay? Truly incredible here. We just have a couple weeks left. And if you go back and look at all of the market crashes, they all had similar alignments as far as a lunar cycle and a whole lot more. And as I've been telling you guys, I'm going to be sharing my Shemitah cycle deep dive for my Discord group on September 17th, this weekend, this Saturday. I'm going to be doing my weekly call that I do every week with my Discord group, sitting down with them, having the real talk that I can't have here on YouTube and TikTok. See, there's a reason why we had to move to Discord over a year ago, but specifically Shemitah cycle deep dive and all the other alignments, including the lunar cycle. And we're going to get into all of it in this deep dive session, but it's just truly incredible. Add this to, another factor for taking us down to the downside, and something that we need to be watching and preparing for is this blackout window. Now, the ratio of Canadian household debt to income surged to a record 181%. Canadian households experienced a decline of almost $1 trillion in net worth in the second quarter. The Canadian Central Bank should buy some gold. This is being reported by Gold Telegraph, and we just covered in one of my most recent shows how the United States lost $6 trillion of wealth during that same quarter, I believe. Don't quote me, go fact check me, whatever you want to do. It was multiple trillions of value was lost in Q2, and I think it was one of the largest ever. We'll have to go back and fact check that. But the point is, guys, is they have set this thing up for complete, absolute sacrifice of the middle class, the Western financial elite. You're hearing it from Putin. You're hearing it from me. You're hearing it from others like Jim Rickards, Peter Schiff, that are breaking this down. Daniela DiMartino Booth, breaking this down for you guys. People that are much smarter than me in the room telling you guys all the same thing. We still have to clean up the system. We still have to go down further. And you got to be prepared, because this is just the start. Losing $1 trillion in Canada of household net worth. And then in America, losing even more. So we just continue to ask, how is your program working out? And it's not because we want to mock people. Now, I do push back on the haters from time to time. I am known to do that, right? But I'm not here to mock anyone. When I say, how's your program working out? It's a matter of like holding yourself accountable and understanding whether or not you have a real strategy, or if you're just riding blind through this time and you're using whatever it may be to distract you from the issues at hand that are actually affecting your life and that you can actually be accountable for and change. That's what this show's about. It's not just talking about the doom and gloom and how bad it's going to get and shit hitting the fan, without bringing, and I heard this from Jim Rickards recently, where he was suggesting that he feels as if he has a duty, a responsibility to provide solutions when you're talking about macroeconomics and world events in such a way, and I feel the same way, is that I have a duty every night here. I try to piece together a show on what matters most to the people that are tuning in, and what can we do about it. Keep it relevant, but then every single episode, give them real value and actionable steps. In this show here, I'm just trying to get through what a picture here of situation breaking down. But then at the end, we're going to get into Ripple, meeting with JP Morgan, meeting with everyone else in the banking system, and why we believe in the investments that we're making right now so much, why we have so much conviction, and why we're not sweating going back down to the downside. I'm not losing household net worth right now. God willing, thank you God. And I'm not here to brag. I'm not rich. I'm not killing it. I think I'm barely accomplishing anything at this point. But I'm not losing household net worth like most. And that's key. And we're going to continue on here. Let's get further into this news before I go on further rants. Argentina has formalized the BRICS membership application. Who are the other possibilities? We have Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey. I'm going to suggest that you have basically everyone that wants to actually get their act together, move forward, reset, restructure their currency. The debt crisis, the liquidity crisis, the gas crisis, food riots that are hitting the streets of these other countries are accelerating the movement over to a new financial system. The BRICS membership application, it doesn't have to be a formal membership. The deals are already being done with the likes of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, and Iran. Absolutely. I mean, what does it matter if Iran is part of BRICS? The only people that are working with Iran are BRICS members, right? So a formal agreement doesn't even need to be done. We're seeing the money move. We're watching the money closely, and we're seeing the deals getting done. It's one thing for Europe and the United States to stay woke. And like we say, go woke, stay broke, basically, is the situation at hand here. The program is not working out for Europe and the United States. I'm going to get into that here in this next article. And this is why the gas prices keep dropping, reporting from Zero Hedge. The Biden administration drained 8.4 million barrels from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve last week, the biggest weekly drain in history. We're not in a war, right? This does not solve the problem. All we keep doing is slapping band-aids on the issue. The cut just keeps getting deeper. We're bleeding out more and more, and we just keep throwing on another band-aid. That's what this is doing. And this is going to leave us completely dry as we roll into this winter. This is short-term election stimulus to keep the thing a little bit afloat before it gets absolutely hammered, guys. And from across the board, what I am seeing is so many folks suggesting another 50%. And what I'm suggesting, what camp I'm in, is we're going down another 50%. Just like across the board on average. Whether you're talking, cryptos are probably even going to be worse. Some real estate markets, not all, high-flying real estate markets, very speculative areas, could see another 50. Stock market, another 50. That is what so many of the folks that I'm listening to are suggesting as well. And when you look at the Bitcoin chart, it's there with ease. Another 50% with ease. I mean, it would just be so simple. It's the crazy thing is that people are so excited to get out when there's still so much wrong in the macro fundamental level. If you have any understanding of the fundamentals of this whole situation, you see that it needs to be cleaned up. Whether you're in stocks, crypto, precious metals, whatever the hell you're doing, you understand that there's still cleanup work to do before we can roll over. Now, tomorrow we have the CPI data coming out. Huge inflation number tomorrow. This is from Will Mead. Word on the street, CPI will show inflation is falling. If true, hedge funds will get squeezed as they are net short a record 107 billion in S&P futures. So, me as well. I am also short as well. Now, the hedge funds, this is a record $107 billion short squeeze on the S&P. And myself included, I am right there with them going short on Bitcoin as we speak. And I am actually getting ready to even load up more money in case I'm about to get margin called. Now, like I said, this is not smart trading. This is not good investment. This is a conviction play. I do believe that we're going way further down to the downside and that this is all just a fake rally pump that we've had over the last week or so. So I'm right there with them on this net short that's equal to 107 billion. Okay, but I'm getting ready to get margin called as well because these guys, if this, okay, let's back up a sec. Will Mead is suggesting that in the inflation numbers, if they're a little bit lower, if it shows that inflation is getting less, if it's falling, then we're going to pump. Then the market's going to do well, right? Which makes sense, right? That makes sense. Okay, the CPI will show inflation is falling. If true, hedge funds will get squeezed. I would be getting squeezed as well if we do get this pump. But I want you guys to understand and look back to all the most recent inflation CPI data releases. It gets really volatile leading up to it. And then even after it gets announced, we've had bullish announcements on worst CPI data in 40 years. The market pumped initially before it rolled back over to the downside. Now, on my weekly call last week with my Discord group, I was showing them the charts that I'm looking at, and I just do very simple technical analysis. And I pulled the fractals that took us from, April, May timeframe all the way to June, July. There's a couple different fractals that we basically identically match. And it takes us much lower, anywhere from below 10K all the way to bare minimum going below 14K. That is what I'm watching on the macro Bitcoin chart. Now, can they pump Bitcoin to 23, 24, even 25K once again before they roll it over. Absolutely. That's just what they did to us. Nobody learns the lesson, even though they did it to us just a week or two ago, where they pumped Bitcoin to 25K and then rolled it back over here and wrecked everyone. See, so you got to be careful right now if you're trading in this market. For most of you guys, just continue to buy the assets that you have 100% conviction in is the strategy I would stick to. If I was new in crypto, I would not be doing conviction bets, trying to prove a point, shorting Bitcoin. That's just stupid. But yeah, it's kind of how I feel about Bitcoin. Molly Elmore, huge shout out to her. She's been putting together incredible threads on basically everything from crypto. She's talking about Basel III in this one, breaking down the financial system and economic structures, basically for the simple people like myself. This thread right here, what is Basel III? What does it have to do with the price of gold? Let me take a sip of my adult beverage, and huge shout out to everyone for tuning in tonight. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of you. If you can smash that thumbs up button, I would greatly appreciate that, okay? And let's have a fun time here tonight. We got a little bit to get into. We're about to roll into the crypto news. This is the stuff that you guys like most. And at the end of this show, we're going to be talking about Ripple meeting with JP Morgan. We're going to be getting there here shortly. Thank you for tuning in. What is Basel III? What does it have to do with the price of gold? The gold market is manipulated through paper gold, which is coming to an end. A thread on Basel III, the paper gold market, and what's ahead in 2023. Until Basel III, banks could buy and sell unallocated gold, which is also called paper gold. Allocated gold is what you envision when you think of a bank and gold, physical bars of gold held in a secure vault. However, it's expensive and labor intensive to move bars of gold around, so paper certificates are used as a proxy. This is similar to when US dollars were backed by gold. Each paper dollar was supposed to connect to an equivalent amount of gold. It became too tempting for the US government to spend more than they had in gold reserve. Hence, the dollar was no longer exchangeable for gold after 1971 when Nixon took us off the gold standard. Right. The banks did a similar thing with the paper gold market. They issued more certificates than they have physical gold, which enabled the suppression of the gold price through a process of using naked shorts. Basel III has elevated the status of gold to a tier 1 asset and will force banks to hold allocated gold instead of paper gold. These requirements will go into effect with US banks in January of 2023. This means that JP Morgan, among others, won't be able to manipulate the price of gold anymore. Interesting. We're going to be talking about JP Morgan meeting with Ripple here in just a little bit. Tie in the recent announcement of Russia to launch a new gold exchange, and the market for gold may change dramatically. Why would the banks do this if it hurts the system they had going for so long? Not all central banks have the same agenda. The US central bank, the Fed, wants to protect the value of the dollar. However, the European Central Bank has a different agenda. The banks in Europe are facing a liquidity crisis and would benefit greatly from their gold reserves having a higher valuation. It's also a game theory situation with the Russians. If the new Russian gold market launches and the price of gold is higher, it creates an arbitrage opportunity. People with cheap paper gold will attempt to cash in for physical gold to sell in Moscow. Since the banks issue too many certificates, they will run out of gold. As a result, there will be mad paper certificate holders and they will run out of gold. No bueno. Time will tell how this plays out. But this power play between central banks and Russia may benefit the gold investors who have patiently waited for the manipulation to end. If you found this thread insightful, please follow me and retweet to share with others. So I'm going to show you guys her once again real quick. That's Molly Elmore on Twitter. I would highly recommend everyone give Molly a follow. She's putting together a lot of great work. So yeah, we really appreciate that, Molly. Thank you so much for clearing that up with us. Yes. So basically, as we've been talking about, tier 1 assets. You might as well throw in XRP into the tier 1 class as well, because it has even more utility than gold, in my opinion. And for the banking structure, the banking system, It is getting restructured, reset. We know that we have a liquidity crisis in Europe that is actually speeding this thing along. Now it's picking up. I said when the Queen passed away, basically the acceleration, we reached a new, we shifted to a new gear, and we're accelerating even faster now towards the financial reset and the restructuring. Basel III implementation is part of that, absolutely. And it's funny, I just shared a short on YouTube of a video I did last year in June 28th is when Basel III was basically adopted and accepted. And then I guess until 2023, they're giving everyone time to roll over. So once again, everything lining up for 2023, maybe even 2024, before we really actually get reset and get launched into that new financial system, utility unlocked, real value found for tier 1 suppressed assets, which is what we talk about here every night on this show, is precious metals, gold, silver. I don't know if they classify silver as a tier 1 asset as well, but I would. My portfolio, what I would identify it as would be a tier 1 asset: gold, silver, XRP, and XLM, and maybe a couple other cryptos as well. For me, you know, my deal is just XRP is what turns me on most. But nonetheless, the moment in time here is truly incredible, guys. As we watch all of this unfold, let's look here at all of the dates leading up to this rollout. Library case ruling was stated as expected in 4 to 8 weeks from July 20th. That puts us at 9/14. We might see the ruling this week. Now, I just saw a post here from Library that says the judge is about to miss his own timeline in our case. Who does he think he is? A software engineer. And so, yes, the case ruling, I think this is on their summary judgment, is due here anytime now. So we're going to get an update not only in the Ripple versus SEC case coming here shortly, but we could see the Library ruling actually come first. This is going to be something to watch very closely. Let's continue on. So what happens now with XLS20? XLS20 has been delayed. Why? A nasty little exploit was found. You guys already know the deal. You already heard about this, right? Okay, let's get into this. I want to get into the summary, and this is from Combat Kanga. Huge shout out for putting this together. I want to get to his code update, best case and worst case scenarios. So code update, best 1 day, worst 7. Released updated code, best 1 day, worst 7. Update the validators. And these are the 3 things that need to be done before we can update to XLS20 NFTs for XRP. Update the validators between 1 to 2 weeks, worst 1 to 2 months. Best and worst estimates for XLS20 going live. Best case scenario, 1 month. Worst case scenario, 2.5 months. Okay? So we'll continue to watch that one unfold as well, which we love to see this. Just so everyone's clear of what we're watching, what we're observing, we love to see this. This is decentralized future of finance in real time. The network is being validated, not by Ripple. Ripple's not forcing their hand. Yes, they did they did vote against the amendment until the bug gets fixed, but this is being driven, and it was found by the community. It wasn't found by Ripple. So while Ripple's trying to make a case in the SEC lawsuit, which we don't even have to get into it because we already know how staged of a lawsuit it is. But just look at this proof of the decentralized nature of XRP, all for the show of the SEC. Of now we have the SEC and the CFTC chairman as well going in front of Congress this week. All eyes on crypto. Now, Alex Cobb, I thought this was a good find. In Apple's first 10 years of existence, year 1995, it was at 35 cents per share. In XRP's first 10 years of existence, year 2022, it is 35 cents per token. Now, he's giving this credit to some guy in his YouTube comments, which I know how that goes. Everyone has a YouTube comment to leave, which I do appreciate. Please leave the comments. Good, bad, fact check. I don't care. I'm totally with it. But let's maybe someone can confirm this. But nonetheless, I think that the point is that Ripple XRP, this is just like the tech bubble, right? I forget what the price point was. I was listening to, what was it? Peter Schiff, or it was one of the guys I was listening to today, talk about how, Amazon went from, I forget what it was. It went from a high price to a low price. That's the point, basically. And same thing has happened here with Ripple XRP, and it's been suppressed, right? And at this moment in time, so many people have left and abandoned the cryptocurrency space and the technology that is going to change the world, just like they did in the dot-com bubble. Now, for me, at this time, I was just arriving on the scene, and the dot-com bubble of 2001, I was just a young kid. But we're seeing a similar moment and a similar cycle with this emerging technology, and it's getting good right now, folks. Talking about XRP movements, big deals. Digital Perspectives finds this one. He says, I'm sure it's nothing, which we already know what's going on behind the scenes here. 165 million XRP transferred from FTX to unknown wallet. We continue to see huge whale movements in the XRP ledger movements, but we are also seeing some XRP is actually being moved off the exchanges, like this one, 165 million. Now, we've been talking about on this channel about how there is so much XRP that is getting locked away by real players like this. 165 million XRP getting locked away. That's equivalent to 589. I didn't even realize that. Wow. How incredible that the numbers work out like that. 58,985,000 US dollars. 589. Go figure. But nonetheless, guys, what we're starting to see here is some serious players making deals behind the scenes, which is exactly what we're talking about in this video that we have found. Ashley Prosper in the XRP community doing a great job. One of the Twitter sleuths that's just deep diving, getting these videos, getting this evidence, compiling all this information. And it's, truly amazing to see the XRP community completely expose everyone that basically is working against crypto innovation in this country in real time. Huge shout out to Ashley Prosper. Let's share this clip. This is Brad Garlinghouse having 15 executives from JP Morgan in his office. Now, before we get into that, I want to explain this, guys. This isn't a meeting in a little rink-a-dink office. This is a boardroom with 15 executives at the table from JP Morgan. And I want you guys to listen to Brad explain the role of JP Morgan and why Jamie Dimon spoke down on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space overall. At the same time, he sends 15 executives over to meet with Ripple in Brad's office. But Brad and team, not only are they renting out a few floors in that building they were at, that they're currently still at, they've now rented out the whole damn building. Don't forget that. As we go into a recession, a crypto bear market, they are now renting out the whole damn building. And we go back years, and they've been welcoming 15 executives from JP Morgan into their boardroom. And we have the best guy right here in Brad Garlinghouse to represent this company, represent this mission. And you guys are seeing him speak out right here. Let's play this clip for you guys. Let's check out what Brad Garlinghouse has to say here.
When we talk about Jamie Dimon, we first have to recognize where he sits. He sits at the top of the global financial infrastructure. There are a few banks, of which JPM is certainly one, that make billions and billions of dollars of profit by virtue of that perch. 99.9% of banks don't make money in this ecosystem in terms of cross-border payments. Jamie Dimon makes a technical term of a shit ton of money by sitting there. So when I hear Jamie Dimon saying it's a fraud, I think to myself, well, of course he's going to say that. He's talking. And by the way, there's also people who conspiratorially, he's trying to talk down the price of Bitcoin so JPM can buy it. Like the idea that JP Morgan isn't actively working in the blockchain and Bitcoin space is not true. Frankly, I don't mind sharing. There are about 15 senior JP Morgan people at Ripple's offices this afternoon. Now, unless JP Morgan's going to fire them.
Does JP Dimon know that?
Apparently not. Anyway, so look, that's my thought on the whole JP Dimon thing. I do think there are people who are going to say this is, in the same manner, a very smart investor said to me, in 1997, the whole West Coast was long Amazon and the whole East Coast was shorting Amazon. We saw how that worked out. And his point was basically, look, the West Coast is obviously bullish, and there's some that are very cynical about these things, and we'll see how it works out. On the risk factor, just very briefly, because I don't want to go on too long, but I think what we have to remind ourselves is this has to come back to utility. What problem is the digital asset solving? If it's solving a real problem and it's creating value by solving that problem, then there will be value in the token. I think what's risky is there's a lot of these things, as Juan was saying, that I cannot explain why you need a token. I can't explain what the token does. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think, unfortunately, I think that percentage, particularly in the recent ICO wave, I think that percentage is a very high percentage. I think there is going to be carnage to be had from that. And I think Grant is smarter than I am in many ways, not the least of which is on the law. But, the ICOs, the SEC regulation around securities are designed to protect investors and...
Right, so it cuts off there a little bit short, but huge shout out to Ashley Prosper for actually being able to pull back up this clip. She says that she's going to be getting the full video, so she's going to be sharing this full speech here with Brad. But as you guys can see, Ripple has not been messing around, and like he says, there's a reason why he was able to get up so confidently and say that 99% of cryptos are going to be going away. Brad Garlinghouse knows it's all based off utility, and he's been sitting at the table with all the people that matter in the whole damn world. This is no joke. Anders says, look at the obvious. Go through the keynote speakers at Swell. Now, at first, I thought he was talking about the speakers at the Swell conference that's going to be taking place in November this year, this current Swell conference that's just coming up. But he was actually talking about the older ones, specifically Ben Bernanke, Sheila Warren, Bill Clinton, representatives from the ECB, Federal Reserve, World Bank, and many more that we don't even know about that are unnamed. But once again, guys, we just want to reiterate, this has all been taking place years ago. When I started out the show, we've been talking about in the last live streams how important Queen Elizabeth's passing is for the rollout of events that we're about to see. Now, you can put any significance you want on any of this news, whether it's a coincidence or not, whether it's a conspiracy or not. This is my speculation. This is my truth that I'm going to share with you guys here tonight, is that they are timing this thing up to come in here pretty soon as far as the worst of the worst. It appears like the bear market, the crash, the quote-unquote event or series of events that we're kind of expecting are going to be hitting over the next few months. And this is why I believe that the bottom of the market is still yet to come in, that June was not the lows. I am saving cash right now so that I can buy assets on the low, okay? And when I say I'm saving up cash, that's not all cash under the mattress. You want to have some physical cash. I got cash in the bank. I got crypto ready to roll to buy more. And we've also taken positions in silver, precious metals, okay? And then we've been just loading up, and we've reached new levels that we never thought that we would get to in these assets. At the very same time, in my business, just deals after deals, contracts are getting signed going into a recession, and it's all cash flow. It's all upside. It's no layoffs. Like all these companies that are having to do layoffs right now, we're not having to do any right now. And like I always say, I'm trying to remain humble, and I praise God for this opportunity and for the blessings that I have. But we put in a lot of work to get here. And I'm not, doing anything special by any means. Personally, when I look at what I'm doing here, I feel like this is just kind of cool, and we're just getting started. But folks, what I want to get out to you guys every single night when I come to you live, when I bring you guys these updates, is to get you guys to take action, whether that's starting a side hustle, starting your business, investing in real estate, sitting down with your family, building out your exit strategy, building out a succession plan if you pass away, if something happens to you. Many of you folks are older that listen to me. I know the demographics go all the way from the young kids all the way up older. You guys, whether you're 20 years old or whether you're 65, 70 years old, you need to have a plan, right? We got to understand that a lot of you guys that have been around the block, you got experience, we're fed into the 401k old system that was just part of that Wall Street scheme. It was fed to the American public, right? And then what we're seeing now with the series of events is not only the stock market going down and people's 401ks getting wiped out, but we're seeing that people can't even make ends meet. They can't even buy groceries, can't even pay their energy bills, utility bills. The foreclosures haven't even really started yet, but that's always a lagging. Basically, the foreclosures are always lagging when it comes to a recession and a real estate bubble popping. Okay, so that's still yet to happen. What I am looking at is real estate. I continue to acquire precious metals, and I don't care what the price of silver is when I go in. I'm buying. I don't really care what the price of the cryptos are. I continue to dollar cost average, but I have set up myself to go in more hard at lower prices. Like I said, we've already taken advantage of the bear market the whole way. No regrets about buying XRP, even last bull market when it was at $1.20. I have no regrets about buying XRP at those higher prices, and I don't think that you guys should beat yourselves up about buying these assets at higher prices. Personally, cryptocurrency has kind of been my savings plan, which obviously hasn't been the best store of value. It was going good for a moment last year in the bull market, but what we've been able to do and what we focus on is how big did the bag get during this time, and the bag got big. It's getting bigger. We're just getting started. And so that's good. God willing, we can make it through the storm, which is why we talk about prepping and essentials. This situation, folks, next 3 to 6 months is it, in my opinion. And we're going to put together, there's actually another cycle that I need to add that we need to watch, and that's the demographic cycle. I was listening to Harry Dent, was on Robert Kiyosaki's podcast. Listened to that today, but the podcast was showcased about 2 weeks ago, talking about the demographics that Harry Dent focuses on so much. So basically, the millennial boom will start about 2023, 2024 is what Harry Dent said. Someone who was able to predict the recession that took place in 2007, 2008, back in the 80s by understanding demographics. And so I don't think that this time is different. He is calling for, obviously a much worse of a crash to take place. Another 50% is essentially where he's at as well, maybe even worse on some assets. But just in general, basically another 50 off the assets. He's in bonds, which I always find interesting. But, I understand his play. After listening to him talk about it on Robert's show, I understand why he's doing the bond play right now, because it's a short-term hedge against the recession. So basically he's going to just hold the bonds for now, but then sell them off later. I just don't like that type of paper asset. For me, there's no utility. It's all based off of, speculation in the markets. Yeah, there's fundamentals there. There is a lot there. It's, I know a lot of people, are bond traders, whatever. It's boring as hell. So for me, it's just not it. And I'm not going to be doing that. But I get why he's doing it. But then he's also super bullish on gold. After gold gets smacked, after the precious metals get smacked, then they go on a tear as well. And he's talking about the demographics lead us to a millennial boom. And what it's based off of is when a generation is at peak spending. And so this is why a lot of other countries have other serious issues, including China, is their demographics are jacked up. Here in the United States, we do have the millennials, but that's going to be a much more shorter-lived boom than we had with the baby boomers. So he was very clear on that as well. But, as we continue to do, we continue to listen to the smartest people in the room, the people that are doing the deals, that have actually run real businesses, that, have the real estate portfolios, that are building out this cryptocurrency technology. We just refer to the best in the room. We compile a show for you guys here tonight, and I just try to reiterate that how important it is to take action right now during these times. As we watch these events unfold, timeline, we don't know the exact date or hour, but we know we got a window. It's a window of opportunity. Rosie Rios said a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, meeting Pope Francis, the Holy Father, and being able to collaborate and work together in each one's respective fields, platforms, to grow together spiritual order. And, part of what I've always said too is that, we understand that, order out of chaos is their motto. For us, we want to bring that order to our families, to our businesses, to our church and community. That's what we're here for. That's what this group's meant to do. And I would encourage you guys to make sure that you are not only listening, it's easy to get caught up listening to podcasts, YouTubes all day on business, on starting a side hustle, investing, but to actually take that first step, and if you need someone to help you along the way, I would be glad to do so. I did start a business development program for my Discord group. It's coming along kind of slow, to be honest, but I'm just a very busy guy. Like I said, obviously very busy time in my landscape business. And then we try to bring the updates for you guys and keep you guys up to date. But the business development program is coming along. In the first two, we're talking about starting your side hustle, starting your real business, the two separate paths, and the first steps to take. And I would love to help you guys along the way. But nonetheless, you don't have to come join our Discord group. Even if you listen and if you support this channel, I appreciate you. You can help me out by smashing that thumbs up, by sharing this message. All the super chats are greatly appreciated. And, as always, we're just trying to bring you the best news and help you guys figure out a plan that's going to work, a program that's going to work during these times. So thank you so much for listening, guys. Let's check the chat real quick. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of you guys. Ran up a good group tonight. Thank you so much. Buy all the ammo you have. Yes, love ammo. Love Freedom Seeds. Big investment. Decent size allocation has been made. Decent size allocation has been made. Okay, we can do about like 17 more minutes, maybe just shy of that. Let me be right back though, guys. Let me get a little bit of water. Thank you, Chris Hall, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Love this information, sir. Thank you for the content. Chris, God bless you. Thank you, brother. Zach, your opinion, which crypto is going to be decent for supply chain tracking? I know something like VeChain, but no other real competitor unless I'm wrong. Yeah, so that's an interesting one, right? Because these companies have been basically building out cryptocurrency plans, how to use distributed ledger technology. The tough case for me on that utility is, do you need a token? Do you need a currency? You don't really need a currency to do that. So, what's the need to use a VeChain when you could just use your own distributed ledger technology that you don't have to buy VeChain to use? You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like Amazon could just create their own blockchain QR code system, distributed ledger technology to confirm logistics and do that use case. That's why that use case for me never really got me going as much. A lot of people always, talked about VeChain, and at a certain point I thought, okay, this is kind of legit, and I see they kind of got a niche, but why does Amazon need to use VeChain? I could never answer that. The answer is they don't, right? They really don't. They can just create their own distributed ledger technology, and they don't even need a token. It can just all be tracked in a blockchain, no token needed. So that's the problem with that. And for that utility, I feel like it's going to be basically individual tracking. Basically, what do they have now? The SKU, whatever that stands for. Yeah, basically it's gone to all QR code, but there's no really need for a token in that use case or utility. Zach, whoa, is this title true, sir? be busy. Yes. I just covered it at the end of this show. I've been on now for 40 minutes, 49, or basically 50 minutes. So we've been on here for a session now. I'm going to take a few questions before I wrap this up. For anyone who's new here, please understand that I'm a man of the people. And so I always spend at least like 10, sometimes 17 minutes taking some Q&A and hanging out with you guys when I do a live session. So, for the people that want a short, quick update, I understand the best times is like 10 to 15 minutes probably. Okay, I'm too long-winded. Most of my updates are at least 33 minutes, but sometimes I like to go 45 minutes to an hour. Stock keeping unit. There you go. Yeah, your SKU number. Yeah, so like instead of using I guess it's there and they have some adoption, but for me, it just didn't turn me on. Its CPI report would be bearish. Well, if inflation's getting worse, then that's definitely going to be bearish. I'm going to make the case that it's bearish either way, though, unless inflation's dropping by a lot, which there's no way that it is. There's no way that it is. It's going to be like maybe down a little bit, and the market will have a bullish reaction. It'll probably pump, but that's going to be short-lived. And just like all the other CPI data releases, it's bullish. We initially pump, and then within like 24, 48 hours, we just roll over back to the downside because we're in a bear market. The macro fundamentals take us lower. Appreciate your answer. The company I work for started using something of their own to track their stuff on the ground, but once it hits the water or air, difficult to rely on other companies tracking. Yeah, and it has to be interoperable, right? So that's, I don't know, that's, I guess, where one advantage could be of some sort of, a more open source, decentralized blockchain that multiple companies built on. I think for many of them, it's, Zach, what's your second favorite crypto? I don't even like it, but I just hold XLM. It's like, I don't even really like Stellar. I don't like Jed McCaleb. I like Danelle Dixon. She's good for the cryptocurrency space. But other than that, I'm like, who the hell is even working at Stellar? I don't even know. Like, you can find all the people working at Ripple. They're doing speeches. They're doing conferences, interviews. They're doing events and deals, which to that point, Stellar is going to be having their conference as well as coming up here shortly. Is Zach a Freemason? No, guys. So I just make jokes about numbers like that just for jokes. I'm not a Freemason. It's funny, though. It's funny how they work, huh? So why hold XLM? Because I think that it's going to be used. I think it's going to be adopted. Yeah, I think that it's kind of just been working in the shadows. But I think it's going to be a real player. I think it's going to be, well, and to be honest, I'll just ride the wave. It's not something that I have the most conviction in, but I do think anything that's been suppressed but has serious utility, and I know they're meeting with the people that matter, that's what gets me interested. Jed McCaleb comes from the most elite world, families, ties, connections. That's what matters in business, is networking, partnerships. Who are you working with? Your network is your net worth, some people say. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's important. For me, when I'm looking at cryptocurrency projects and what to invest in, it's basically the most important. Who are they partnered with and who's actually adopted their currency or their token, their technology? He won't be crowned. Yeah, I know some people think that Mr. Charles will not be crowned king. Interesting. We'll watch. Got my back sore. Just wrapped up a awesome paver patio today. Over under $500,000 in your XRP bag. That's a good question, right? Um, yeah, 500,000 XRP. That would be a good amount, wouldn't it? That would be nice to have a few 100,000 XRP. Maybe one day. I'm excited for your next deep dive on XLM, but a minute since you went down that rabbit hole, Nicole, exactly. Jed McCaleb, actually, I really don't even talk about him too much publicly because you talk about the Lucius Trust and some of these other entities that Mr. Jed McCaleb comes from. You just get schwacked like John McAfee. No. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to go deep on it, though. Once again, we got to go deep on XLM once again. And because I need to know at what point am I going to be offloading? What is my exit strategy going to be? I already got a position, whatever. Don't really care about XLM, but I do have a position. So I'm just going to do another deep dive because I feel like so many people hold it and I want to know what my exit strategy is going to be for it. I need to revisit that. Damn, that's what you said about people going to Ivy League colleges. It's about education, or it's not about the education, but it's about the connections. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can a man get wealthy off 100,000 XRP? Well, yeah, I mean, most people that have 100,000 XRP probably already have a little bit of wealth, but I know some OGs that, well, they stacked up quite a bit earlier on. But yeah, definitely 100,000 would do it. But then there's also going to be people that blow 100,000 XRP and don't know what to do with it and go broke. So that's the thing about it. What makes it fun? What do you think is a good price to buy in on XRP? I've been buying it since $1.20. I thought that was a good price when I bought it. Been buying it all the way down. 33 cents obviously is nice. We definitely are taking advantage of that. But I also am looking at entering once again under 25 cents. Right around the 24, 25 cent level. If we break through there, we could get something good. But interesting thing to note is that XRP's most recent bottom has been 17 cents. So watch out because this thing's already been suppressed. Yes, it could go lower. Absolutely. That would obviously be complete carnage, chaos, blood in the streets moment for the markets. We would take advantage of that. That would be amazing if XRP went under 17 cents. But that was the most recent low for XRP. So be careful. Be careful trying to buy XRP too low. I got caught up in this years ago. Yeah. So I should have bought way more XRP at 10 cents, but I thought it was going to go down to 5 cents. So I held off. And then I ended up having to acquire at 17 cents. I don't know if it's going to drop to 25 cents. So many people waiting for that. Exactly. That's a huge psychological number for XRP. This level has been so brutal, man. This like 35 to 25 cent level has been so brutal for XRP. Golly, man. We've been here for so long. It feels like forever. But yeah, that's why I'm not waiting. I mean, I already packed a bag, but I've still been acquiring XRP all the way down. 60, 55, 50, 40, 33. I miss Trump. Yeah, I think that it was a little bit better when Trump was president. Can I say that? Is that okay? Is that politically correct? Oh crap. I just had more fun. But the point is here, guys, is that I didn't let the recession that we have under Joe Biden. It's not Joe Biden's fault. He's just playing his part. He's just sleepy creepy. But I don't want to blame anyone. I don't want to say that, oh, Trump's the reason why I, was making more money back then. No, I'm making more money now with Joe Biden, right? We just continue to grow from Obama to Trump to now with Joe. We're still doing it, still growing it, still building. We're just getting started. And that's where I want everyone to be at. For me, yeah, I mean, Trump, listening to him speak versus Joe is nice. Aaron, $2. What's in the cup, bro? Freedom tea. How about that? A little bit of freedom tea. This is water. Yes, just like we were told, right? Watch the water. You want to make sure you get your water in. Make sure you can get some good water. Right now, we are enjoying a tall glass of ice water. September is going to be a big month. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. It's going to be massive. Massive. What month do you think the switch will be flipped? You have to have a date in mind. Please share. I will report back after I do my Shemitah cycle deep dive, because that's where I'm going to really try to pinpoint the bottom. And I'm not working. I mean, flip of the switch moment, that's tough. For me, I'm looking for the bottom, because we might get the bottom and then we might hang out for a little bit before we recover and we get a quote unquote flip of the switch moment. Because that could happen at any moment with XRP, with the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. Imagine what's going to happen when Ripple settles up with the SEC. It's game over, guys. And we don't know when that's going to happen. Everyone's throwing out September now. Well, you know how it goes in the community. Everyone's trying to get views, right? So September settlement, doing really well with the clickbait, with the thumbnails. I get it. I try not to do clickbait. If I bring it up, I'm talking about it and I got my reasoning. But people are talking about September settlement. They're talking about, and here's the thing for me. When Jeremy Hogan, the attorney that we appreciate so much, said anytime between September and basically November or December would be the best time for settlement, and John Deaton said the same thing, I was like, okay, so we're finally here. This is the XRP endgame. I just released that little clip, that little video. You guys can check that out, XRP endgame, where we're talking about the dates to watch out for. But basically over the next 3 months, summary judgment briefs are due. And during that time, before the case gets sent off to trial, which takes us into next year, well into next year, like well past the spring of next year, the best time for settlement would be now. And of course, we do think that the settlement will come through, because I don't think that they want to release all of the information with the Bill Hinman emails. It's, pretty obvious that they're trying to cover up their tracks there. It's complete corruption. The other guys, DAI is covering it, every single day. The rest of the community is really on top of that. For me, it's just, really, guys, we have to understand what is the timing of this on a bigger macro level, because there's so much other issues going on right now. And we combine all of that analysis and put it together for you guys. That's where I'm coming from, is I put all of this together and then share the plan. And that's why we cover so many different topics. So, we'll throw in a real estate update, talk about real estate. We'll talk about precious metals. We'll go deep conspiracies and talk about, is Charles ever going to be crowned king? Well, let's see what happens. Anything's on the table. That's where I'm at, is I pull up, you guys pull up, so we can have an adult conversation, try to figure out the truth. Any last questions before I head on out, guys? If you guys want to, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate that. And drop any last questions. You can head on over to my website and get access to the Discord, get the merch, and also get access to me. You can send a message there. You keep saying smash a thumbs up. Where is that? That is on YouTube. I appreciate that. On TikTok, you can tap the screen, share the stream. We would greatly appreciate that. But make sure you guys have gone and subscribed to my YouTube channel. Okay. I'm going to wrap up this session, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Stay safe out there.